Hi everyone, welcome back to Hakurou Workshop. In this episode, I'm going to start making some scales, custom scales, for a fold-out knife. Here is my vision, all nicely laid out in vector format. There's two versions I want to make. One is a brown-capped rosy finch, an endemic to where I live, and another is the black-capped chickadee. If you live anywhere in the northern half of the United States or Canada, you can probably find some yourself where you live. My plan is to replace the plastic scales that came with the knife with veneers of wood. I was able to get this variety pack from a woodworking store, so many of the colors will be natural colors of the wood. I also had a bit of maple veneer left over from an old project, as well as several meters of walnut veneer I had gotten for free from a woodworking class that was switching curriculum. For the beaks, I'll be using blocks of maple and walnut. It'll also fill the space between the two scales where it extends past the original shape. This is actually the second time I'm making this. I got as far as getting one set of scales made, but I had two issues. One, I wasn't confident in the symmetry between the two sides, a direct flaw of making the two sides independently, and two, the design I had needed a lot of black, which I didn't have. I initially tried coloring the veneer with the cheapest option, a Sharpie, but the second I put pen on wood, I decided against it. Now, I could just go out and buy a black stain, not the most expensive thing, but the store is really far, and I don't want to go out of my house right now for reasons. So I redesigned everything using all the things I learned from the previous version. The head also wasn't as cute as I wanted, so this was a good time to fix that as well. So the first thing I want to do, I want to glue some veneers together in layers. In order to do that, I'm going to cut out some of the patterns, get the size I want, and then start gluing. Red I don't have, so I'm going to use maple. I'm going to try staining with food coloring. These thin parts where I have the layers drawn in, these are going to be layered veneers. It's not going to be horizontal, it's going to be vertical slices. So I need to stack however many layers of light and dark colored veneer to get this effect. I'll get a stack of that, and then cut it down to size, and then shape it. And then probably sand it down, so it's just as thin as the other veneers. But I only have a limited amount of the black, or rather just really dark veneer. I think I needed 15 layers worth. 6 centimeters longest, and these are just under a millimeter. So 15 millimeters by 6 centimeters is what is the squares I need to make. Short 3 mils. So this is 7 right now. 7 using 11 layers. Let's see if I can cover the biggest part. The biggest part I need to cover is this wing portion. That's the most curved, that's the one that I need to cover. Let's just cap this stack off, starting with maple, ending with the black, whatever wood this is. So I'll just add one more piece of maple. Hope that's thick enough. If not, it's not the hardest thing to just add on 2-3 more layers after it's all been glued together. Once it's glued and compressed, I will cut that piece out, the pattern out, see how much more I need. Maybe I don't need any more, and call it good. When gluing pieces of veneer together, you actually need to have a strong brace to push down on all the layers evenly so that you don't get any spacing, because veneer is so thin that the water content in the glue will make it so flexible that you can essentially bend it to any shape you want, within limitations. I could bend these layers while I'm gluing them to fit the contours of the wing better, but to do that I need to first make a pattern, a frame for it to push evenly in the same curve from both sides. Well, not the same curve, concentric curves from both sides. And I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to glue these together and then slap them between these extremely flat plywood pieces that have wax paper on them so that the glue doesn't stick the veneer layers to these pieces of wood. So let's get gluing. when I'm using wood glue, I always like to have something to wipe my fingers off on, as well as some water, because wood glue does dissolve and wash away very easily while wet in water. This I want really thin, even pieces, even the wood fibers start absorbing the moisture. And because the water doesn't go in all the way through, only one side of the wood is expanding while the other side is not expanding as fast, so it warps. Now, because I have so many layers to go through, it might be a smart idea to stop midway and let the glue dry and the wood pieces settle, so I'm not trying to finagle this rapidly drying, warping stack of sticky mess. Top layer already starting to warp. That's the one layer that doesn't have glue on both sides. What if I purposefully just wet the other side as well? Okay. Let's get this thing bound. I want to get some sort of spacer in here to get it so that even pressure is applied. Alright, let that dry. Yep, 30 minutes and 24 hours for full cure. Which, I want full cure. I don't want this thing delaminating on me when I'm working on it. So that is gonna stay there, like this, until tomorrow. Okay, so let's get back to these pieces. The wing is actually gonna be a separate piece that I just glue onto the top. It'll give the thumb a nice place to hook onto when you're trying to pull the blade out. So I think it'll work. If not, third tries the charm. Wrong knife. Now hold on. I want wood grains going sideways on this. So this square is fine, I just need to cut it this way. So let's double check, just make double sure that I haven't done any stupid grain direction on this. That's fine. And yeah, that's fine. So it's only this piece that needs to be changed. So much easier. So much easier to cut with the grain. Okay, so here's my idea for making it's called book matched. Not really. The two halves, both left and right sides of the knife. Let's use this for example. So this black part that right here, that's called the scales. And that's what I am building, and the left and right side, it's better if it's matched, especially if it has a face. If it doesn't, then you know you can get away with not being perfectly matched. But if it has eyes, it'll show up. You'll notice. So I want the left and right sides to match. To do that, I'm thinking that I will stack these together with the walnut that I have, the wood type that I have a lot of. And I sandwich it in here. It's a 3-layer system. Actually, I want the grains. So this has the grains running horizontally. This has the grains running vertically. I'm gonna have the grains 90 degrees of each other so that together it has a very strong resistance to splintering. It'll support each layer together. And then I'm going to glue these together. Now, the thickness of one veneer is about the thickness of my bandsaw blade. And that's important because I want to glue these together, cut these into shape together, and then, after everything's done, I'm going to slice these separate so that the left and right sides match each other perfectly. So, let's get all of the stacks made. And I should trim this so I take up the minimum amount of space. And the thing is, veneers, you can actually cut it with scissors. And I'm much less worried about these pieces just splintering and losing corners of it. That's what happens to the tinier pieces. It curls up because of the scissor blades, and it starts fragmenting. But the larger piece is fine.